People are dying left and right, and the depravity.
Okay, I don't know why my skin is whiter than I wanted it to be in high school.
Hello, cuties. So I'm like in the middle of having a cry. I figured now is a good time to have a vlogging update. I just, I'm like such a fan of just normalizing being open about one's feelings, you know what I mean? And I just like, over the last 3 days, I've worked 40 hours. And like outside of doing blackathon stuff, and I'm just so overwhelmed and exhausted, and like all I've wanted to do for the last few days is just like sit and read and have some personal time. But I just haven't been able to do that because I've just been so busy. And like, don't you hate when you're like busy getting stuff done and then you feel like you're still not getting enough done, and then you feel like a failure? I don't know, I felt so overwhelmed. So I just like had a really good cry with my mom, and she was like I was just like crying because my mom had made carne asada for dinner and was like gonna heat it up, and she was like, you know, like this is what we're gonna have for dinner. And I just like started crying because all I wanted was chicken cutlets. And I wanted to ask her to make them, but like I didn't want to inconvenience her, you know. But like, those of you who've been following me for a long time know that like I have eating issues, and sometimes I just go through like these phases where I can only eat one thing, and I just like felt like such a burden. And I just like, I don't know, I'm happy and things are going good, but it's like I need to book myself a massage. I need to like just get better at taking care of myself, you know what I mean? I'm sorry. So then I started crying, so then she started crying, and I just like, I'm just gonna sit and read.
Guess you didn't hear me.
What, Mama?
I said we got marijuana cookies too.
We have marijuana cookies. Hey.
You really like them. Take them off.
My mom's like, you need to be high.
Okay. It's gonna be okay.
Yeah, so it's nice and sunny. It's like 30 degrees, but it's sunny and it feels really good. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna shut every fucking thing down. I'm not gonna worry about my emails and sponsorships and like blackathon activities and stuff like that. Like I'm just gonna sit and read The Getaway by Lamar Giles for a little bit and just do some annotating. I've got the audiobook too, so I'm gonna let that play, and I'm just gonna just decompress, you know, just let my heart be where it is. So I've officially decided that this is going to be a black thriller and horror reading vlog. That's what my heart needs, instead of me like pushing myself to do like a black sci-fi vlog. No. So I don't know, I love you guys, and I know that you guys love me, and I really appreciate that. Okay. Oh my god, I hate when like you have sunblock on and then you cry, and then you have sunblock in your eyes, and that makes me want to cry more. We're doing great. Gosh, who's a good girl? Who's a pretty girl? Who's a good girl? Yeah. Who's a pretty girl? Who's a pretty girl? Yeah. Alright, so I don't want to stop reading in order to give an update, but the light has begun to wane. So I feel like now is a really good time to give an update for The Getaway. I'm so sorry that like this vlog has been so chaotic. Like I started it not even knowing what it was. And because of that, I'm going to give y'all a synopsis of The Getaway for those who are not familiar, and also kind of show off the cover. This is one of my most favorite covers that I've ever seen. When this cover was announced, I freaked out. I mean, I was so excited. So far, this book is almost violently exceeding my expectations. So basically what The Getaway is about is this is a futuristic horror book. It is a debut, and in it we're following a boy named Jay and his friends. And Jay works at this resort which has been hoarding resources. This is set in the near future, and they work at this car loft, this resort called the Car Loft, or the Car Loft. resort, I'm sorry. Outside of the resort, there is a massive famine, shortages of very important supplies, and so getting your family into the Karloff resort in order to work is a lifesaver for a lot of people. And basically there is some sort of catastrophic event causing the 1%ers of the world to flock to the Karloff resort, but at that point it becomes a horror because they kind of start forcing the employees of the resort to like satisfy all of their wishes. And I know that that sounds sexual, but I don't think that that's the vibe. It is a YA book. And so that is basically the synopsis, which is incredible. So as far as my actual thoughts and updates, right now I'm on page 73. I'm almost to a page 100. And first of all, like the first thing I noticed was how funny the book was. It is hilarious. The dialogue between Jay and his friends is fucking hilarious. And these characters feel so real, including the side characters. It is very difficult to write side characters that feel as real as the main character. And speaking of him, his narration voice is just incredible for pulling the story forward. I'm really enjoying him narrating. All of the issues that I tend to have with YA books are not present in this. He writes so incredibly well in terms of like storytelling and everything. Like I have literally no complaints, and I'm just loving how well fleshed out it is. The technology that is incorporated into the world building is so flawless, and it's not like overly descriptive, but it's also not under described either. So for those of you who like aren't into science fiction, this will be so fine because the tech is incredibly gentle. It's just enough tech inclusion to make the futuristic setting believable without you having to feel like you're reading a futuristic book at the same time, if that makes sense. And I think that that's really important because this is social commentary on things that are happening right now. And so I can tell that Giles didn't want the reader to kind of miss that and think, okay, well, this is just a risk of what's going to happen in the future, but things like this are happening now. You know what I mean? And there is this really interesting component where people are like suddenly freezing and staring off into space, even wealthy people. Or I think it is, yeah, people affiliated with the resort are doing this. So I'm wondering if that is somehow the situation. Is it a pandemic? That causes people to flock to the resort, these wealthy people? I don't know, but it is interesting. Like one of his friends vanished into thin air, and the story is like so intriguing. Like the suspense factor is incredible, but also the social commentary is amazing. Topics that I don't always see discussed in YA literature, such as what resorts do to the people of color who work there, and how people behind the scenes at resorts, the people who make resorts and carnivals possible, are treated. It's fantastic. It is fantastic. It has commentary on police protecting property more than people. I want to say all the social commentary that's in there is flawless. It's not hitting the reader over the head. It's not, you know, you still get to make up your own mind, like that kind of thing. It has commentary on implicit bias, and it also has commentary on white wealthy people having mixed race children, and how those children are treated within those lavishly wealthy households, because one of his friends is, I forget what her grandfather called her. It was something very derogatory. It was something like a half-breed, I think is what he called her, which is so disgusting to say to somebody. She's incredibly rich. Like she's in a position to inherit $24 billion, but she doesn't really belong to the family. She's treated like an outcast. Her mom treats her like a prop. And it was really interesting because on page 73, we get a chapter from her. And that was just, and that only added to the story. I wasn't expecting that POV switch up, and then after that chapter it went back to Jay. It's all just so fascinating. I'm sure I'm forgetting some things, but I want to get back into it. It's, right now it is a 5-star, so hard. And like, even if it takes a turn that I don't enjoy, I have a feeling that this is going to, I would give it a 5-star just for how the start of the book went and all of the amazing inclusion and how the inclusion has been handled and all of that. So let's get back to reading. Y'all, this book is getting real. Jay's friend isn't the only one to vanish from the neighborhood. Apparently 17 other families just vanished, and the security in the county doesn't give a fuck because they live in a poorer county. But 17 families, like overnight, with nobody seeing any cars or moving boxes or anything, just vanished. And and their houses were completely empty with for sale signs in the yard. That's really creepy. All of a sudden the internet isn't working, and on top of that, the friends are getting texts from like people that aren't actually who they say they are. Like Jay just had a whole text conversation with his mom, and his mom's like, you need to go home right now. So he goes home and he's like, what was so urgent? And she's like, what are you talking about? I didn't text you. So I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, and when I like, it's so freaking good. While I'm reading, I'm watching the Geekend Sprints with Gavin and Gabby. And then since they're on a 54-minute sprint right now, I decided to look up some Blackathon vlogs. And I just found this booktuber called Reading with Toby. And she's got a 36-minute vlog that I'm watching right now. And I subscribed to her instantly because I like her vibe, and her pages, her thumbnails are fantastic. And I'm just really excited to, like, I'm only a minute and 54 into this video of hers, but I'm already really into it. So I'll leave her link down below if you want to check her out. Just got to page 165, and this book is seriously fucked up. Holy shit. The horror just arrived. I'm not gonna tell you what's going on. The information is pretty much on the dust jacket, but y'all know I like to go into thrillers knowing very little, so a lot of this is just like a complete surprise to me, and I think that that would be amazing for y'all as readers. What I will say though is that something happens in the world that, like I said, causes all of these billionaires to come to Karloff County Park. What I didn't know was that the workers are not allowed to leave. They are trapped on the resort with these billionaires, and then the horror just got introduced, and I'm like, this book reminds me so much of the movies The Menu with Ray Fiennes. And then also The Platform. The Platform is a horror movie on Netflix. I can't remember what The Menu is on. I think it's on Hulu. The Platform is one of my favorite horror movies. If you like Parasite, I think you will love The Platform. Akasha is so cute with her little ice cube. I love her so much. I wanted to give a reading update on The Getaway. I have just been sitting here in the cozy ambiance. I have a Studio Ghibli of Howl's Moving Castle on, and I'm just loving it. But I figure it's time to do an unboxing because I have these boxes piling up. Feeling this is from Penguin. Yep, it is from Penguin Random House. I don't know what this is, so let's see what they've sent me this time. All right. Oh my goodness, y'all. So I'm very excited about The Shadow of Perseus. Y'all know that I'm not big into Greek mythology. I love South Asian mythology. I love East Asian mythology. I love African mythology and Latina mythology in particular. But this was a story that I found very interesting because it reminded me of The Silence of the Girls by Pat Barker, which is a Greek mythological retelling of a scorn of Briseis that I just loved. And so Shadow of Perseus, in addition to having this gorgeous cover, chronicles the lives of 3 women, Medusa, Andromeda, and Danae. Danae I am not familiar with, but it's a feminist reinterpretation of the myth of the great hero Perseus, told through the voices of his mother, his trophy, and his wife. Very, very excited about that. This one is from Simon & Schuster, so I'm going to guess we're having a YA moment. Looks like my mom pre-opened this one for me. So, ooh. Okay. Yeah, it definitely is giving YA. I Will Find You Again by Sarah Liu. This cover is really interesting. Tell me what y'all think of this cover. Personally, I really like it, and the font is textured, which is very, very nice. So I don't remember what this was about. They reached out and asked me if I was interested in it. Welcome to Meadowlark with expensive homes and good schools, and ambition meets a loneliness. We are following Chase Ohara and Leah Vestiano, the driven over... So this is a story about 2 best friends who end up falling in love, and one of them goes missing. Set in this town called Meadowlark, where there's a lot of expensive homes and ambition, and there's a lot of secrets in the community surrounding this young woman, Leah's disappearance. So I'm excited about that. I'm not really sure if this is YA or not, but it's supposed to be a tale of love, obsession, and the space between. Really, really love obsession books. Then we're gonna, I'm not sure which one to open next. Okay, I think we're gonna go with this one. This is Ring of Solomon by Aidan Polydoros, which I believe is a non-binary Jewish author. I have a few books of theirs. Okay, so he, him pronouns, so not sure. Yes, okay, so I was right about the Jewish folklore. I'm not sure of this author's gender identity. We'll look it up later. But this is, I believe this is part of a series, and that I have the first 2 books in the series, and it's middle grade or YA for sure. And it has monsters, which love, love, love monsters from folklore, and it is from Jewish folklore. I'm excited to get to that. I feel like I've been kind of slipping into a potential middle grade mood myself. The last package we have here, I'm obsessed with this pretty blue packaging. It says it's from Candlewick Press. Oh. All right, so, oh my God, look at this cover, you guys, how beautiful. No part of me was off limits. They'd paid their money to stare after all. I was not human. I was an exhibit. This is called The Family Fortuna, and I've been very excited about it. It's from Lindsay Eager. In it, we are following a beaked, feathered, monstrous young woman named Avita, and she was born to be a star, and it is a circus thriller, fantasy, kind of horror-esque book. Her circus tent sells out nightly, and every performance incites blood-curdling screams. She's the most lucrative act from Texas to Tacoma, the crown jewel of the family Fortuna. She feeds on the fear, the screams, and the gasps, but when a young, handsome artist is commissioned to create new posters of the performers, Avita is appalled by his rendering of Bird Girl. Is that truly all she is? A hideous monster, sharp beak, razor teeth, obsidian eyes, and ruffled feathers. She's ready to be more, but her father, who is the proprietor and ringmaster of the family, won't give up his most popular attraction without a fight. And Evita is not the only one clamoring to be released from his manipulative cage. The rest of her family does too. And it's about whether or not their fragile family will survive the tension of a circus showdown. That's really interesting that it has a family drama component. That's often my critique of YA in middle grade, is that families are not pulled into the story, and so it kind of makes the stories feel complete. I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, so this is her debut YA author. What? This is her debut YA book. So that is gonna do it for this update. I am tired, so I just made myself a little drink, and I'm gonna get back to reading The Getaway. So The Getaway has gotten incredibly brutal. Like, people are dying left and right, and the depravity is just getting so, it kind of reminds me of the Stanford prison experiment. What happens when you put a small group of people in complete control of a subjugated group in an isolated, like, closed quarters? It is absolutely incredible. I'm flying through it. I am just over halfway through, I believe. And then I had some notes that I wanted to talk about that I forgot to mention last time. One of the themes of the book that has been introduced is, oh, well, there's bad things happening over there, but it's fine because it's happening over there. It's not relevant to us. We don't have to worry about it. And it's about how, like, the signs that this was coming were there, and how some people in the park are like, well, it's better that we're in here even though we're locked in. We're literally being slowly enslaved by these people, but it's fine because it's worse than what's happening out there. And then there's the people who, like, want to resist, and the things that these rich people are putting in place to prevent resistance are so fucking sick. I also really love that this near future book includes non-binary people, because doing that in futuristic fiction I think is really important. I'm gonna keep reading and I will update you again soon. What's up, y'all? It is Jessie from the future here to add a transition clip that I forgot to add. So I actually did complete The Getaway, and holy 5 out of 5 stars. I can't say anything that I haven't already said about this book. You just gotta read it. And then the next book that I'm going to be reading for this vlog is Delicious Monsters by Liselle Sambury, and I'm so excited for y'all to just watch my reading experience with this, because this book took me on a roller coaster freaking ride. But I want to show off that I just got sent the finished copy, and I don't know if you can tell, but it's like the gold foiling. Oh, it's so beautiful. I'm actually about to run and film a huge unboxing on my Instagram live, because look at all these boxes. Do y'all see how many boxes I have? Do you see that? It's insane. So I'm gonna go do that. I'll leave it linked down below in case any of y'all want to see it who don't follow me on Instagram. Bye. Let the spookery continue. I have to give a reading update for Delicious Monsters, because at this point I am 200 pages into the story and it is absolutely wild. I wanted to update sooner, but I just cannot put this book down. I did start it, I think, back in November or October, and it comes out, I think it's in this month. Yep, it comes out February 28th. And I had to put it down to get to other books, and now I'm just getting back into it. So that's why I think I had already gotten to page 100 by the time I had to put it down. So for those of you who have had your heads buried under the sand, who have been living in a cave under the sea and don't know what Delicious Monsters is about, this is the sophomore novel from Liselle Sambury, who wrote Blood Like Magic and Blood Like Fate. That duology is just amazing. Now, to be fair, I have not read Blood Like Fate, but I just already know that it's going to exceed every single one of my expectations, unlike how I underperformed for my father. So Delicious Monsters is this wildly difficult book to describe, but I'm going to do my very best. Essentially, we get to follow two different Black girls.
One of the black girls, her name is Daisy, and she can see ghosts. Daisy and her troubled mother move into this haunted house that was gifted to them by their dead, very wealthy uncle. And lots of paranormal activity has arrived at this house. At the same time, we are following a black girl who is a content creator and runs this true crime TV show, paranormal investigation YouTube show, where she investigates paranormal situations. And she and her business partner or content creation partner end up doing an episode on missing black girls. Like I said, it's 10 years in the future, and they are investigating what happened to Daisy and her mom when they moved into this house 10 years prior, if that makes sense. So we are following Daisy when she and her mom move into the house, and then we are following Brittany and her partner when 10 years later when they're investigating what happened. And basically, you know, at the start of the novel that Daisy went crazy, and it sounds like she killed a bunch of people and that the mom disappeared. So that is basically the synopsis. Like I said, it's very difficult to pin down in a concise way.
Obviously.
And right away, the first thing that I noticed about Delicious Monsters was how incredible the atmosphere of the book was. And I don't just mean the haunted house itself, although that is impeccable. You know how sometimes you'll read a haunted house book and the vibes just aren't really there? It isn't convincing. That was my experience with The Spite House by Johnny Compton. It was a phenomenal book, but unfortunately, I was not at all convinced of the haunted house, the atmosphere. None of it felt believable. But it's interesting that I say that though, because Delicious Monsters reminds me a lot of The Spite House. It is everything that I loved about The Spite House. It doesn't have any of the things that I didn't love about it. So if you like The Spite House, definitely pick this up. But so far, there's just so much to unpack. I love that we have two black girl outcasts for protagonists, and they are unlikable in different ways. They are unapologetically black, but their personalities are so very different, and their experiences are entirely different as well. I love that there's really great depiction of what it means to be in an interracial relationship with a white person who discards you for another white person and the politics that are underlying there. But so far, this book does come with a lot of content warnings. The content warnings I have so far are sexual assault, bullying, parental abuse, and emotionally abusive interracial relationship dynamics. And all of those things are just really well handled at this point in time in the story. But what is really standing out to me outside of these social themes and really well handled topics is the horror, the body horror. I mean, there has been bird horror, there has been maggot horror, there's just been creepiness all around, and that's not the only kind of horror that is in the book. I am loving that. And at this point where I'm at in the book, things are just picking up, and I could not be more excited. I have so many questions and no answers. This book is 500 pages long, and I'm just really, really excited to see what happens, where it goes. So far, Daisy is my favorite out of the two girls, but I really enjoy Brittany's perspective. I also wanted to do an unboxing of the latest Feminist Book Club box. I have not done one of these unboxings on camera in a little bit, and y'all know that this is my favorite book subscription box. I have been riding for them for 3+ years now. They donate 5% of their proceeds to a different charity every month that the subscribers get to vote on and pick. And then I have a discount code for 15% off. It is bow ties, and that's in the description box below. All right. They also just have my favorite packaging just ever. I love it. They have a really great podcast as well. Renee she knows what she's doing. She sources a lot of products from local crafts folks, and it's just really amazing. I always save these little cards. Jesse, consider this your permission slip to slow down. Love, Renee. And I love the creative themes that they always come up with for their boxes. This month's theme is pleasure, and look at this beautiful pamphlet. Okay, so the first thing that I see is sticker confetti by Pip Sticks, and this is really cute. I absolutely love stickers, and you can put them in a greeting card, use them to seal envelopes, in your journal, or sprinkle them over a party table to seriously turn up the fun factor. Look at these. These are really freaking cute. They always put such creative items in the box. I'm ecstatic about it. Oh my God, look at this. Look at this little ascot scarf bandana situation. This is gorgeous. I've always loved silk, black, and like orange, red combinations together. This is gorgeous. I need to know what this is from. This is from Princess Accessories. It is just, oh, it is so soft. So next, oh my God, yes, I love hyaluronic acid in my products. And so this is a face mask that is by Lapkos. Oh, just look at this. And this month's treat is a salty nibbler, 50% dark milk chocolate. And this packaging is absolutely impeccable. I'm very, very excited about this. I am, you know what, I'm just gonna, we're just gonna pop this over right now. I've been snacking all day. I just had Lay's chips and I wanted some spice to it. So I added, what did I add? I added tahini and I added cayenne pepper. And my mom is so dramatic. I asked her, I was like, Mom, do you want any chips? And I told her what was on them and she was like, why don't I just pour Tabasco down my throat? I was like, okay, drama queen. Oh my God. I feel like I'm in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. This looks pretty freaking good. Okay. You know when something's really good and you just have to stare at it while you chew? I'm not just being dramatic. That is the best chocolate I've ever had. I'm going to be checking them out and seeing if they have any flavored dark chocolate because I love when my chocolate bars have things like crushed flower petals in them, things like that. So raspberries, wow, that was amazing. That was really, 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 really good. Last thing that is in this box is the featured book of the month, which is Slow Pleasure, Explore Your Pleasure Spectrum by Euphemia Russell. Pleasure coach and educator Euphemia Russell, they, them, guides you through the fundamentals of embodiment, savoring, practicing pleasure, and understanding your desires so that you can feel the whole pleasure spectrum. Throughout the book are reflection, questions, and pleasure practices that bring you back into your body and help you slow down, listen to yourself. It teaches us that pleasure goes way beyond sex and should be cultivated and celebrated in every moment. I wonder if there's any illustrations in here. Oh, wow, look at that. Ew, why did I sound like Owen Wilson just now? That was such a treat. I am actively trying to not eat this chocolate bar right now. But yeah, honestly, I'm making a 5-star prediction. I'm loving this book and I'm just gonna get right back into it. The second I go into a haunted house and one of my friends suggests that we split up, she literally sees ghosts. Nobody knows that she sees them. And this is part of what she deals with and struggles with every single day. She's very lonely, seeing ghosts that nobody else sees. And in this book, ghosts are attracted to sadness. And so she will put in her headphones and listen to Kids Bop, which would make me want to pull off all of my toenails one by one and then eat them. That helps her keep the ghost from coming near her, and which I find very, very interesting. But anyway, she sees ghosts and she meets this boy in the town where she's at with the haunting of Hill House Ass House. And he's a psychic. He and his family are psychic. And she refuses to believe that he's psychic. And I'm like, you see dead people though. So why is a psychic outside of the realm of possibility? Like, make sense. I'm fucking crying, you guys. You guys, this... So this pregnant woman... I just don't understand how so many people fail to see red flags. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. So one of the characters is talking about how one of her friends back in the day was pregnant and how much she loved the house. And she says basically that she would find her pregnant friend in the house with her ear against the wall, eyes closed, ear to the wall, smiling as if she were listening to something. And then she would say that her baby would be special because she and Jordan made it in that house.
I'm so flabbergasted as to how at that point, at no point during this whole little ritual did this woman question what her friend was doing. That's wild. That's wild. It couldn't be me.
Okay, I don't know why my skin is whiter than I wanted it to be in high school, but I just wanted to give an update for Delicious Monsters and say that this book is so fucked up. And I don't even mean that in like a fun horror thriller way. There is a lot of child abuse in this book, a lot of descriptive child abuse. There is like an older man who preys, like a college guy who preys on a high school girl, and there's like descriptions of violence between the two of them that's really lengthy. So really big content warnings for sexual violence. But on top of that, like, so much has happened in the book since the last time that I updated, which was only last night. I went to bed kind of early because I just was exhausted and woke up and immediately started rereading Delicious Monsters. Oh, the reason I went to bed was actually because I was exhausted due to Delicious Monsters. I had binge read a bunch of the book, and it is so emotionally draining. It's an amazing book, but it is just really heavy, really emotionally draining. So I went to bed and of course woke up, started reading it immediately. So that was just all I wanted to say. Hopefully I won't update again until the book is done, but it's intense. It's a lot. Akasha. Hi.
Why am I my nose is burning. You know when you're trying not to cry and then your nose turns into Rudolph? It's not cocaine, I swear. Why am I such a sucker for the trope of like a parent who never says I love you finally saying it after it's way too late? And then I'm like, oh, they really do care. Oh my God, this book is getting me in my feels. And the male-female friendship between King and Daisy. I didn't care about it before, but King just did some things that were really sweet. And I'm just like, it's literally so fucking sad.
Editing Jessie is back to close out this video. The reason why I hadn't closed out this video is because I was gonna try and squeeze a third book into the vlog because I hate doing vlogs with only 2 books. But I have unfortunately just not been in a thriller mood. I'm a little thrillered out. So you'll see another black thriller horror reading vlog very, very soon. Don't forget I have a Patreon if you want more exclusive content from me. That's down below, along with a list of my most popular recent videos. But catch me on Instagram, jesseonyoutube_. And without further delay, I'll see you in my next one. Bye.